everybody. So we just completed our 31-hour trip from Tennessee all the way to Jeju Island, South Korea.
We survived.
We survived. It was totally exhausting. By the time we got here, we were ready to crash, but so worth it to be able to finally be settling in here. And it really went better than we expected, which we'll talk about throughout the video. And I think my favorite part was getting to see it through our son's eyes. Everything was new and exciting to him, and so that made it a little bit better for us as well. So throughout the video, we're going to be interjecting some things in the middle about the different COVID protocols we went through, and then at the end of the video, we'll just give some tips on what worked well for us in traveling. So come along, stay tuned.
Yep. Hey everyone, so we're starting off our trip now. So we just got through security. We're in Chattanooga. We said bye to our moms, which was not the most fun thing, but we're excited to go on our trip. And little man's been so great this morning.
He's been waving, saying hi to everyone.
He loves to people watch. So yeah, that's a great thing for him in the airports. Yeah, so got a couple legs on the trip. Starting off here in Tennessee, gonna go down to Georgia, then straight over to Seoul. So come along with us and we'll show you what happens. Well, we made it to Atlanta, so that was exciting, and our little man was a trooper. He got on the flight, was smiling at everybody walking by, and then he just fell asleep.
He was very curious.
Yeah, we gave him some milk on the way up, and so he was doing just fine, and he passed out within about 5 minutes onto the flight, slept all the way till everybody got off the plane, and then we got off as well.
So he's living the life, being pushed around his stroller.
Yep. So now we're gonna head over on the plane train. So Nehemiah is gonna experience the plane train, which should be fun. And we're gonna go over to the International Concourse. Well, we made it on the flight and we lucked out. We have an extra seat here. Little man has got his milk right now, getting ready to take off. I think we're about to take off here in just a second. So here we go to Korea. Well, we are about 2 hours into the flight, and this little guy decided to have a stinky. Yes, he did. Yes, you did. So we gotta get that cleaned up. Woo, a little bit turbulent. And then, so we're gonna figure out this contraption over here. Let's see if we pull that out. Ooh, there we go. This is our changing table. Hopefully this all turns out well for us. Ready for this diaper change, bud? Are you ready? We got it all ready. It's all set up. We did it, Nehemiah. We made it through our first stinky on the plane. We did it, woo! So Nehemiah is fascinated with geography right now and is enjoying playing with the map. It's his new toy. I mean, it's not like we didn't bring all his other toys to play with. So one of the best investments was buying a little Roku remote. He absolutely loves it and is on top of the world. landed in South Korea. Woo! Next step, Jeju. So after arriving from our long flight, the next part we didn't end up getting to shoot any footage because it was just so busy going through all the immigration protocols they have set up during COVID right now. So we're just going to kind of fill in the gaps right here. The first thing we recommend for people flying into Korea is fill out all the paperwork on the plane. There was probably like 10 sheets of paper, and Mary was a hero and filled out all of them. And now if it's just a single person flying in, it's not that bad, but we were filling it out for 3 people. If you have a bigger family, you'll have even more paperwork you'll need to fill out. But that was the first thing we recommend. Also, Mary had kind of gathered some paperwork together. What was that?
Yeah, so you want to make sure that you have a folder that all your paperwork is in, 2 copies of everything. So COVID test results, 2 copies because they're going to take one, and you probably want to have one for later as well. And just any paperwork you're bringing, put it in a folder, because they also give a ton of paperwork that you will want to put in a folder.
It was really nice to just be able to put that in as we went. So the first station you get to after getting off the plane is going to be a health check station. This is where they're going to take your paperwork for your PCR test that you took before arriving in the country. So they'll check through that, take your temperature, send you on to station number 2. Station number 2 is going to be the app that you have to download. Not super hard, fill out, and there's people there to help you along the way too, which is really nice. And then they'll send you on to part number 3, which is where you actually have to, they check the app, make sure you downloaded it, all your information's correct. If you have a contact here that you're going to be staying with, they'll call them at this point. At least that's what we had. We were staying in our apartment here in Jeju. So they ended up calling a contact for us down here, verifying that we had somebody that was going to be receiving us and bringing us in. And then part 4, they sent us around the corner after filling out all of that. It was kind of like a finalization with all the COVID test checks. Wasn't actually a test, but just all the checks that we went through. They were just making sure our paperwork was finalized. Then they sent us around to immigration. Finally, you go through just like the typical immigration, where they look at your passport and allow you into the country. Got our bags after that. Finally, after getting our bags, all of our bags, there were tons. We got through to the arrival hall. And this is where it might split for some of you watching. If you were going to be staying in Seoul, you're probably going to be ushered off to either your apartment or to a hotel you might be staying in. Since we were going to Jeju, we needed to transfer to the Gimpo airport. So we got a taxi over to the airport. And all we have to say really is people were super kind through this whole process. You might be thinking,
this sounds like a really long, tedious process. And it could have been super stressful, but they really made it like smooth. It went by pretty quickly, honestly. And yeah, everyone was just like so nice. They saw I was carrying Nehemiah in a little carrier, and so they helped push our luggage carts even through some of the different steps.
Yeah, and even strangers were like coming up to us and kind and helping with the app translation and stuff like that.
Great experience.
Great experience at the airport, even though with all the protocols, it could be stressful, but it was really nice here in Korea.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, we made it to Seoul so far. So everyone in the airport was super nice to us in Seoul, extremely helpful getting through the quarantine process. We're now in a big taxi with a great taxi driver getting us to the Gimpo airport. And then we're going to be flying to, we're going to be going to I got some nice water. That was really nice. And it's nice and cold too. So then we're going to be flying off to Jeju. So last
part of the trip.
And this little hero right here has done amazing. So sweet. Yeah, he is really tired, but he did great through everything. We had the whole quarantine sign-in process. So awesome experience at the Incheon airport, and we're looking forward to arriving in Jeju this evening. We made it to Jeju. Woo! here. Now we just got to get a COVID test and get our bags, put them on the bus, and head to our house. Yay! COVID test time. Woohoo! There's the testing back there. Yeah, even little Neum gonna get a little test. Yeah, but it'll be okay. We'll get through it. And then we're getting on the bus and we're heading to our apartment.
All right, so now we are going to just give some recommendations based on our own personal experiences with this trip. Less is definitely more, is what we found. Our bag was packed out and it made it hard once you took things out to fit everything back in and stay so organized. Yeah. And so some things we thought we needed, we didn't really. So just less is more is our first piece of advice.
We have 3 main recommendations for what you should bring. Mary's gonna start off with the first one.
Yeah, so make sure you have plenty of food. Our little guy, he's 9 months old, he's on formula. I packed it in little portions in some actually old milk storage bags from when we were breastfeeding. And so I had a portion ready to just pour in a bottle mixed with bottled water. That made it really easy. Definitely, I recommend packing more food than they normally eat. He normally has 5 or 6 bottles a day, but because he wasn't sleeping as much, he had more like 8 or 9 bottles. So the extra food was very much needed. And then we have these little snacks called Melties. They're like freeze-dried fruits and vegetables with yogurt. And these were awesome on the plane because it was entertaining for him and just an extra little fun snack. Definitely recommend those.
He loves those.
Last thing would be that I recommend either having your baby drink some milk or suck on a pacifier during takeoff and landing, because that really seemed to help him. He didn't have any problems with pain that we could tell. He never
cried. Or the
cried.
Changes in pressures and stuff like that.
With his ears, he never cried or anything like that. And he seemed pretty happy and content for a lot of the flight.
Yep. And for number 2, this was about toys and comfort items. So we brought quite a bit with us, but we maybe didn't need as much of that. We recommend maybe one comfort item. Like we brought his blanket, his name blanket. He really likes that one. It's cozy. He
slept well with that.
Yeah, and so that was nice to bring. Toys, we recommend either bringing his favorite toy or her favorite toy. Bring your child's favorite one with them. We brought some of these like favorite little taco ones, and we even had these armbands which were really useful, so you can put them around your wrist so your child can just like pull and it doesn't get thrown onto the floor. You also probably saw in the video where we wrapped it around the tray table in front of us, which was really nice because that's another place it can be held. We also were told this by others, and it worked out really well, is to get some new toys that they've never seen before. You may have seen we got the little Roku remote because he loves playing with our remote at home, so we decided to grab an extra one. It was like $5, so we just grabbed that. But any new toy that they've never seen before and that they'll be really interested in is great.
So tip number 3 is try your best, if you can, to get an empty seat. So with an infant in your lap, you don't automatically get a seat, but you can always ask them if they happen to have extra seat on the plane. We were told by the person helping us book our tickets to try the strategy of booking 2 aisle seats. And so then probably someone's not gonna wanna sit in the middle if you're both on the aisles. And so it worked. We ended up getting the extra seat, and the extra space was so nice. You can kind of lay out in it across us, and just for all the stuff you have with a baby, that was just so perfect to have that extra seat there.
And then tune in next week. We're in quarantine now for 2 weeks. So for the next 2 weeks, we're going to be showing what we did in quarantine. So like and subscribe to the channel and tune into what we go through in quarantine.